Hello guys, welcome back for another update. Well, today we're going to start talking clutches um, for the ZRX 1200 engine build. So I'd done a couple of videos actually before regarding clutch options and what would be compatible with this engine. So Um, in that video, I showed that this here is a ZZR 1200 clutch, and I showed in that video how it is possible to fit this clutch into the engine, and that the clutch ring gear will mesh perfectly with the crank, so there wouldn't be any issues. So that's a possibility. That clutch could obviously go into the engine. Right beside it here is the stock ZRX 1200 clutch. Obviously, there's no issues putting that in because that is the clutch out of the bike. And I was saying there that the ZZR clutch, it's actually a physically bigger clutch. Although the ring gear is the same diameter and the same pitch for the teeth, to engage with the crank. The clutch basket and the clutch hub are physically bigger than the stock ZRX 1200 one. It's also a little bit taller. You can see to the where the pressure plate is about 4 or 5 mil taller than the ZRX one, but it will go in and you will have no issues with it at all. So beside it here, there is a third option. Now, obviously, this is from a Zephyr 1100, Kawasaki Zephyr 1100. Now, this clutch itself won't. You can't put that in because the ring gear is bigger, much bigger than both the ZRX 1200 and the ZZR 1200. So the ring gear won't go in. So why am I showing it then? Well, because with the ZRX 1200 clutch, you have the possibility to convert this clutch, this 1200, this ZRX 1200 clutch, into a slipper clutch if you wish. You can't do it with the ZZR 1200 one, but you can do it with the ZRX 1200 one. And in order to do that, you have to take the internals from this part, the hub, and well, the hub is actually in two parts. I've obviously undone the the springs and the retainers, etc. There. So you can also see that there is a difference in the two pressure plates. This one here has additional little ribs around the outside, and it also has a much bigger aperture there because this part here would go in from the other side. You can see that there is a circlip there, and then there's spacers there for the thrust washer, etc., that would go against that. This one doesn't have that. You can see that the push pin just would go in from the other side. Doesn't have that big opening there. So that's the immediate thing that you will notice on the outside of it, on the outside of the pressure plate. So I'll remove that pressure plate there, and I'll remove this Zephyr 1100 pressure plate here. Now you can immediately see that there's a difference there. This is the hub is one piece, and but this one here is actually two halves, and they separate from one another. You can also see that the internal splines of that engage with the input shaft, this doesn't have that. And you have to, you know, with the stock ZRX and ZZR1, you put this spline color in, and that would be like that. I'll just show you that now. Okay, so with you know, there would be other components down in there first that I'll show you later, but you would have this spline collar that would fit there, and then that clutch basket would fit over the top of that. Well, with the Zephyr one, you don't have that. So the Zephyr one just fits directly onto the splines of this input shaft. Okay, so before we get to the actual hub, I'll just show you. You can see there that the springs for the pressure plate on the ZRX one are much taller than the springs for the Zephyr ones, and the Zephyr ones are heavier gauge. But as I say, these springs here is much taller. So there's that. The screws are obviously shorter for the Zephyr ones, but the little spring retainers there are the same. Okay, so here are the two hubs removed and their respective stacks removed. And this is the ZRX one, as you can see. This is the Zephyr 1100 one. This has internal stud or integral studs within it. This one has screw-in studs for the springs. This one can't come apart at all. And like I was saying there, the back of it there, you can see those splines are much smaller to fit directly onto the shaft on the Zephyr one, whereas that one there is like the ZZR 1200 one, and you would have to put that in, you know, so that it worked. Okay, so that's one of the huge differences. But anyway, like I was saying, this Zephyr one, this is what makes it a slipper clutch. This part separates from it. So here is direct comparison. Well, it's obviously very sort of, you know, oily and greasy, you know, but anyway, you can see here there are three recesses, one there, there, and there, and they've like a sort of like a sloped ramp to them. And the internal part of the outer part of the hub, you can see those I'm running out of room. You can see those three positions, and they have a sloped ramp. Obviously that then engages with that part, with you know, with that part, like I was saying. And then you put that in, but you got to be careful when you put it together. It doesn't go like that. It goes obviously like that, so that it goes together. And also on the front of this here, you'll see little notched recesses there. There's these like star-shaped spring leaf washers, and they have little tangs on them. Let's see, let me show you through the plastic there. You can see that and they engage into there. These type of spring leaf washers, this particular type of one, is really only on, I think, the 90. Zephyr was an early 90s bike, 92 to I think 98, and these here type fit into the 95, 6, 7, etc. The earlier ones, 92 and 93, etc., used a different spring retainer like that. It was just one piece. It wasn't two pieces that went one over the top of the other. It just was a single piece that had, once again, it had these pieces radiating out from them. But that's purely by the way. But anyway, so as I was saying, you can't fit the whole clutch basket from the Zephyr into the bike, but you can fit the internal, the hub there, and the other thing is that you've also got to do is when you're, I mean, you've got this stack of fiber plates and steel plates. Now, and the same with the ZRX one. Now, the thing is that if you were to put this into the ZRX basket, you need 4 thinner steel plates, and then the rest are these, the standard ones. I think they're a 2.3 millimeter thick steel plate, but you'd have to mix them with 4 2 millimeter thick plates, and those again are a Kawasaki part that you can buy. I'm not entirely couldn't quote you the part number off the top of my head, but you would have you'd obviously start off with a fiber plate, and then or a friction plate. You would do that, and then you either put your 2 millimeter steel plate on there, and then your fiber plate, etc., etc. But you gotta have 4 thin ones. Let's call them thin ones. They're 2 millimeters thick, and 4 on the rest of them. The thicker 2.3 millimeter ones, and that is because if I put these beside one another, now this is going to be awkward to do with one hand, but I'll try and do it here. Yeah, can you see the way that one there of the Zephyr, that part of the Zephyr hub, I have that on 2 edges of the hub, but anyway, of the 2 hubs. Can you see the way that there is taller? And so that's the reason why you have to have, in order to try and claw back that difference and still retain the height within your stack of friction plates and steel plates. That's why you have to have 4 of the thinner, like the 2 millimeter ones, and then the rest are the 2.3 millimeter ones, which are the stock Zephyr ones or the stock ZRX ones. But anyway, it was just to sort of show you that you do have that option if you wanted to to put a Zephyr 1100 hub into where are we? There, into a ZRX basket, build it up, and turn your ZRX 1200 clutch into a slipper clutch. Now, I'll not do that with this particular engine because these are these are parts that I've been collecting for another engine build for my 2005 bike, and it's gonna have even more parts than the one I'm currently doing, because it's going to have, you know, Yoshimura cams. It's going to have hopefully a 1224 big bore high compression piston kit and cylinder block in there. It's going to have double valve springs and you know, just on the ZZR 1200 6-speed gearbox in it. But anyway, it was just to show you what options are available to you if you were wanting to go down that road. But I'll just stick the stock ZRX 1200 clutch into this engine that I'm currently doing, and be more than happy with it. And as I say, if you wanted to, you could stick the ZR or the ZZR 1200 clutch in, and that would work as well, you know. But anyway, just another update to for you to, you know, consider if that's the road you wanted to go down. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Oh, and before I go, like I was saying, that's for my 2005 bike. I've actually bought a brand new hub for it. There's it there, you know. Trying to buy up all these parts before they go off the market, because you know, older bikes like that, you know, after about 15 years or something, parts become very hard to buy and get. So you've got to rely on getting secondhand parts off the internet then after that. So that's all part of my wee stash for a future engine build. But anyway, so there it is. What an array of parts there, just regarding clutches. But okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks a million. Bye.